Welcome all. This is Babu. First thing is, I would like all of you to drop down your mobile and switch off or silent mode. It will be better. So today is this first workshop thing which is happening in Like, and you all know Sri Bagavath, very fondly called in this part of world, we call him as Ayya, Bagavath Ayya. So this is a great opportunity for you to see the same thing. You would have gone through so many books of our Indian traditional spiritual masters, and he is one of the spiritual master of very unique in nature, so that he makes very easy for us to understand what is this enlightenment is all about. He makes it so simple, you cannot avoid it. The most simplest thing on the earth is spiritual enlightenment, when it is spelled out through Sri Bagavath. So I welcome you all again to take this opportunity. Just listen to him, whatever he speaks. So whatever, if you have any questions of that kind, you can come over here. It can be addressed to the gathering. So and he'll be able to clear all your doubts. I think this workshop is about 2 days, I think, today and tomorrow. So 2 hour session. Afternoon also will be the evening and tomorrow. So he splits into various different aspects of enlightenment. One by one, chapter by chapter, he will go through. So have the patience to listen to him. Then you can ask him many questions. I hope all of us get enlightened and leave this class. Thank you.
First I say something and afterwards we may have some discussion. During the period of my collegiate education, first time I went to a hill station. Actually my native place is a village. It has no connection with hills. I am living in a shiso and it has no connection with the hill station. And for the first time, when I was in the collegiate education, I went to the hill station. Open. Light off and open. But normally this is happening around from today. It may be around 30 years or 40 years back. So at that time there is no proper nowadays we have many containers for using oil and everything. So we have in our family or in our locality, we use the habit of applying oil in the hair. So when I was at the camp, when I was moving to the camp at the hill station, when I was in the collegiate education, we are gathering some students of ourselves, went to a shopping in the evening. And we have some glass bottle. I take a glass bottle to purchase oil to apply for the hair. So they went for the shopping, and because in our places, the shopkeepers will give us the oil by measuring the oil and put them into the container. And that is why I am taking a bottle to purchase the oil. So that was the first time I went to the hill station, and I asked the shopkeeper to give me some oil. And I asked him whether oil is available in your shop. And he said yes, oil is available. And I give him the container. But at once he returned the container to me. So I repeatedly asked him, do you have oil or not? Because he returned the container. So he is still keeping saying, yes, I have oil. But I don't know why he returned the container, I don't know. So, but later, the oil is in a frozen state in the hill station. But in our village, in our place, it is in the liquid state. But in the hill station, the oils are in a frozen state. So they cut the oil into pieces and put a pocket and give it to me. So here, I am asking him oil. And I am referring oil, he is also referring oil. There is no but he has some image about the oil, and I have some image about the oil. I have the image that is in a liquid condition, and he answers the same, but he takes the oil into a frozen state. But both are meaning the same. So here also, there are many concepts like this. So all concepts are going towards a single point. But something is in the liquid form, something is in the frozen state. And it has some, we are very easily have some misunderstanding. Actually, it may give a wrong direction. It may not be correct. So in this way, we have different kind of concept, different kind of opinion about a single thing. But the main thing is common to each and everybody. But the expression to the core, expression to the point is differs some certain extent. So here we are come across many school of thought, we are going through many practices, we have many experiences for our own. So here what I want to say is that you please take my word, take my concept as a separate one, not mix with your concept. For the time being, you take my concept as a single one, as a single unit, and try to understand my concept in my own language. Don't mix it with your language. So if you have any clarification where I have no proper explanation of any point, you clarify. And thereby I can give you some picture of what actually really mean. And you try to look into something through my eyes, through my words. So you try to, you please till this end of session, please give total freedom to me to express my whole idea, whole concept, and you think on my way, on my concept for 2 days alone. And afterwards you can mix. You can evaluate, you can measure how it is related, how it is worth doing. So everything you can mix, you can discuss. For the time being, you have to clarify. But the clarification is necessary because we may have some idea about something, but I may approach the idea in a different manner. So some clarification is necessary. So each and every word you have to clarify why, in what way I am trying to speak. So you have to have a total picture of my vision, total picture of my concept. So afterwards, if it is useful, you can take for your use. If it is not useful, you can wait. And for that, the main thing is that, first of all, you have to clear in what way I am trying to convey, what is the concept I am trying to convey, what is the picture I am trying to show you. So you have to give total freedom to me then only I can freely express what I am trying to say. So that is the preliminary idea to get. So first of all, the first thing we are going to see is the understanding. The understanding or enlightenment is same in my concept. Understanding and enlightenment are same. But understanding, we are loaded with many ideas that understand the enlightenment is a greater thing. And one can devote here entire life or life after life, we have to take life after life, then only we can get enlightenment. So in such a way, we have the idea. So it is not the fault of anybody. So for myself, it's myself alone, myself is concerned also, I had also the same view. So enlightenment is not an easy thing. I have to devote my entire life or life after life, I have to take many life to get enlightenment. I had the same idea. But I had gone through many places, many masters, many school of thought, many practices, and then only I know what is the real meaning of enlightenment. But when I come to know what is the real meaning of enlightenment, the enlightenment is very easy and it is here and now. Each and everybody can be enlightened. So actually the enlightenment is very simple. So here the enlightenment is only a understanding. So understanding is our understanding is related to the intellectual concept. So the intellect has to understand what we have to do, what we should not do. So that the simple understanding is enough. This simple understanding that what we have to do, what we should not do. So this simple understanding is real understanding. This simple understanding is enlightenment. But what to do and what not to do, in what respect is the matter. So here we have many things to do with our intellect, with our mind, with our thinking process. We have many things to do in the society because we are living in a complicated society. We have to use our mind, use our brain, use our intellect to do many things in the world. So for all those things in the world, we have to use our mind, use our intellect. So here the intellect has only one point, the intellect has no power. So that is our emotional part of our mind. The emotional part is the basic structure of our mind. In our mind, the mind can be classified into two parts. The one is the emotional part or the conscious part. The other part is known as the intellectual part. So we can think, we can evaluate, we can compare, we can come to a conclusion, we can plan. So all these things are related to the intellectual part. So the intellectual part is the main part of our mind, and another part is our conscious part or the emotional part. The emotional part means we have many emotions. Sorrow, happiness, fear, anger. So many kind of feeling, many kind of emotions we are having. So these are known as the emotional part or conscious part. So here our intellect has the capacity. Without intellect we cannot do anything. And the intellect alone has the capacity to deal with the external world, to deal with the things of the world, deal with the things related to the world. But the intellect has no capacity to deal with the emotion. So whenever we may try in various ways. For the time being, we may have some relaxation through our practices of yoga or meditation. We can have some control, we can have some management of our emotions. But in course of time, it will not be useful. So here, what is necessary is that we have to understand we should not deal with our emotion. We have to give total freedom to our emotion. So, this kind of understanding is the main part of our understanding or our enlightenment. For example, we have some health problem and we go to a doctor, a physician, and he inquire and he take many tests of ourselves and said to ourselves that your food is the problem of your disease. So he says that our food, our eating is the problem for our disease. So when he says that our food is the problem, have to stop food, have to stop eating. So if you stop eating, if you stop the food, then we cannot survive. But even though he said the food is the problem, some ingredient of the food alone is the problem. For some person may have some problem through if you get some salt content may be the cause for our problem, or the sweet content may be the cause for our problem. So the main problem is not the food. Some portion of the food may be the problem. Here also, if we say the mind is the problem of our liberation and enlightenment, the mind is not the problem. Some portion of the mind is the problem. So here, the mind is in problem when the intellect tries to control itself. The intellect part tries to control the emotional part of the mind is the real problem. So the total mind is not problem. So the one portion of the mind alone is the problem. The intellectual part, if it is trying to control the emotional part, that alone it is the problem. So here, if we give total freedom to the emotional part, what will happen? For example, we have some sorrow, we have some fear. If you give freedom to sorrow and fear, what will happen? So here, the real problem is not giving freedom to that. When we give freedom to that, what we may think, when we give freedom to our emotion, the emotion should be there. We are thinking like that. If you give freedom to our fear, the fear will be always there. If we give freedom to the anger, if we give freedom to the sorrow, we think they will be there always. But if you test, that will not be like that. For example, if we put a article, for example, we put the recorder here. If we put the recorder, it will be there forever. It will not, unless it will be taken by anyone. So it will be there forever. But psychological matter is not so. So it will be there for the moment. So all psychological emotions are momentary. And the scientists say the duration of each moment, each emotion or each expression is the time duration is only 1 out of 60 seconds. Within a second, some 60 emotion, 60 feeling, 60 thought comes. So they jointly, thereby we think we have some feeling. So they jointly makes a feeling, but out of the single feeling, the vibration or pulsation is 60. It's 60 per second. So in this way, it is happening like this. So everything is in the flowing, everything is in the moving. So whenever we are struggling with that, all emotions goes naturally. So we have no necessity to control any feeling. It comes and disappears. So whenever we do something thereby we are creating some problem in the psychological world. For example, some water is there, you write your name upon the water by your hand, but whenever you write, the next moment it will be disappear. So we need not think that I have to wipe away the written, that you need not wipe away. So whenever you trying to wipe away, the new marking will be there. So if you need not wipe away anything, you need not correct anything. So all happenings in the psychological world comes and goes, comes and disappears naturally. So here, in the world of spiritual world or in the world of psychology, the liberation is considered as the highest thing comparing with the enlightenment. So all enlightenment leads to liberation. So the liberation is the highest thing. All the scriptures says the thing as the liberation or mukti, moksha, in different name they are addressing the thing. For that, if you do not do anything related to that, the natural functioning of our mind in the liberated condition. So when you do not do anything with related to separate the conscious emotion, all emotions goes in a natural flow. The natural flowing is considered to be the liberation. The natural flow of our mind is considered to be the mukti or moksha. But for that, we have to understand. So the understanding alone decides. So the understanding has some capacity. So if you rightly understand, the understanding will operate. So if you have some doubt about our understanding, the understanding will not operate. So if you understand, we have no work in the emotional level, with related to the emotional part, our intellect has to understand. So if the understanding is, if you are sure of your understanding, naturally the flowing will be there. So here also we have to take into account the olden masters. All the olden masters here, many got the liberation only through the way of surrender to God. So putting everything in the hands of God, thereby that we mean in the name of surrender. By surrendering our action in the hands of God, thereby also we are not taking any responsibility on our work. So here also the intellect does not take any responsibility. Here the intellect alone has to get freedom without any responsibility. The intellect has to find out there is no duty for itself. The intellect is useful to the external world, but in the psychological world, the intellect alone is the problem. The intellect alone has to decide that it has no duty. So the finding it has no duty within our psychological structure, though the understanding is so. So here we have to get some clarification in this, in what we really mean by understanding, or what we really mean by enlightenment, and what we really mean by the liberation. So in this way, this is the first session or first idea or first concept that we have to clarify. And if we clarify these ideas of understanding, enlightenment or liberation, then we can move to the next subject, that is the inner work and the external work. Because if you are able to divide ourselves into two parts, internal and external, we can simply forget the inner and we have to take only the outer. The external alone is the real thing. The inner thing is really a false one. The inner things, what is happening within our mind is only just like a reflection, just like a shadow. We need not give attention to that. So the real attention, the real importance you have to give is only the external world, to the external things. For that, the next idea we have to clarify is the internal and the external. And now we have to have some clarification, and we have to discuss and clarify what we really mean by the word understanding, enlightenment, liberation, and what is the functioning of our mind with related to that. So we'll have to clarify this thing.
Any one of us can come forward and sit over here, and you can ask your own doubts with respect to this subject alone. This, the aspect of understanding or so-called enlightenment. If you want, you can ask from there also. It's very nearby. From there also you can have your doubts.
Need not be a doubt, maybe a clarification.
Clarification. Yes.
I was wondering if you could say more about, because the intellect can be so tricky. If you could say more about the different ways that the intellect can interfere with the emotions. Because one way is to try to stop it. Another way would be to, I guess, to try to justify it. And just the different ways that the intellect interferes.
So the intellect, actually, the intellect wants the result.
Yes.
Then only we are using our intellect to get some result. And because we are accustomed to do many things in the world, using our intellect and get some result. So in this way, we are want to get some result with the help of our intellect. So we employ the same intellect, same weapon, because we have the only weapon, the intellect alone is the weapon. And we want result. Getting the result, only because of getting the result, we take the weapon. If you don't have any, if you don't want any result, we don't take the weapon. But the weapon is useful to the external world. But here, psychologically, we have to surrender ourselves. We need not fight. For fighting alone, we have to use a weapon. For surrender, no weapon is necessary. So psychologically, the surrender alone must be there. So for surrender, no weapon is needed. Weapon is needed for our fight. Weapon is not needed for surrender.
Yeah, to expand on what he's saying, very often the mind will not just create an emotion, it will demand an action. I'm not saying mind or intellect, I'm not saying what happens. If I'm confronted with a situation, you feel a certain upsurge of emotion, say anger or sorrow, whatever it is, some disturbance is there. When that disturbance comes, the mind demands action. Mind says, you can't sit there like that, the guy told you this, how can you take it? Come on, get up, say something to him, or he's doing wrong, how can you do that? Get up and interfere. The mind demands that you do something about it. What you're saying, the result, the mind or the intellect, whatever you call it, wants you to get up and do something. Oh, this is bothering me, I must do something. So very often we're fighting, no, wait, you're saying, wait, don't. Before you know it, you picked up the phone, called, or done something. Where is the point where we say, okay, I'm allowing this emotion, but I'm not acting on it. I'm allowing the emotion of rage or anger or whatever the case may be, or sorrow or irritation, frustration, but I'm not going to act. What is the entity or the point where we do not act on a raging emotion that's demanding attention, that's demanding action?
So here our intellect alone is the factor. It is also part of our mind. So it is our conscious thinking, our conscious thinking, this is like that, this is like that. We are consciously examining something. So the conscious examination, the conscious intellectual application is the entity. This alone has the capacity to deal with the external things. But it also takes the same result, same control, because we want to control the external situation. We think the external situation is not good, and we have to take some steps to take everything under our control. But we think The intellect has the capacity to separate it mind itself, separate it emotion itself, and thinking that we employ the same process towards ourselves also, towards our mind itself. So here alone we are committing mistake, and here we have to, but we are doing, everybody is doing
So
the
is
same
there an
thing.
effort there? Is there an effort, which is that when the voice is demanding action, or the voice inside is saying, get up, do something, don't just watch this happen, do something. Are we placing any effort? Because one part of what you're teaching is great effortlessness, and I feel great lightness when you say, let it be, let him say what he wants. You don't have to act on it. Let him, go ahead. Give him full freedom. Let the emotion rage or whatever, let it rage. It's like smoke coming out of an incense stick. I'm not going to worry about it. Is there effort required when this voice comes strongly to say act?
So here we have to decide. So decision alone is the important factor. In recent newspaper you might have heard about some terrorists have shooted the school children.
Yes.
So how it is possible? Because he decided. So if you decided something, everything will follow. So in this way, if you decide, you need no work there, the decision will act. So if you do not have any decision, the decision will think I have to do something, then you naturally and unconsciously will act according to your decision. So the decision alone is the important factor. So you decide. If you understanding is a decision that you understand that you decided. So the decision alone is maximum. But here also we have some psychological, some conditioning is there. The conditioning may happen unconsciously. But at the same time, if you are consciously come to a decision and you will not do it consciously, so unconsciously you may have some work or fighting against yourself. So that is unconscious. But when you are consciously decide like that, then you will not consciously do anything. So this when you are consciously having some decision like this, in course of time, the unconscious happening will also cope up with your understanding. It also, along with it, will also follow your understanding.
Because,
Yeah.
because I think the feeling is that, let's say we're in grief, or anger, or whatever it may be, is that if we don't do something about it, the feeling could be that it's just going to go on, or I may act inappropriately. These are the different beliefs that we could have. Say if I get angry and I don't control it, maybe I'll do something wrong with it,